Great. Yeah.
So maybe a few words. So you're organizing currently this today's seminar in cooperation with the Next Web, who is the leading partner for X Europe, which is a new acceleration program for health, medtech, and biotech companies in Europe. It's supported by the European Union, and it's a bit similar in that sense for EIT Health and EIT Health Alumni, because you're also supported by EIT, which is European Institute of Technology, and it's also supported by the European Union. EIT Health Alumni is pan-European network of health innovators. We have more than 2,000 members across all the regions and growing. So quite excited to have you here today and see how we could maybe work together to get also our health innovators to make the best use of the expertise and mentors and all the resources that they are bringing out to table for the active health innovators here and across Europe. And yeah, so the floor goes now to Jakob, I think, and you're most welcome to share the screen with your slides.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. I'm here, I'm Jakub from the Next Web, and I'm joined here by my colleague Adam, who can also jump in and answer all your questions you may have. Let me please share my screen with you. Just very quickly. Do you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect, great. I will put this into play. Yeah, great. Well, welcome to X Europe. X Europe is a big program governed by 5 partners, which aims to support European deep tech startups. The whole program takes 2 years, but it's divided into 6 cohorts, and each cohort covers one relevant deep tech industry. So right now, today, we are mainly speaking about the first one, which is directed to health tech and medtech. Over the duration of the 2 years, we aim to support over 150 startups, and each cohort will actually peak at one of our leading European events, which will give startups great exposure and sort of like a peak of the program. I think it's also good to mention from the start that the program is supported by Startup Europe, and therefore the whole participation is totally cost and equity free for all startups. Let's jump to our overarching goals. We would like to facilitate the growth of startups and SMEs in Europe, particularly in the first period, as I mentioned, health tech, medtech, and biotech. And next to that, or simultaneously, we would like to encourage the flow of opportunities, knowledge, and capital across borders to sort of connect the Eastern developing countries to more developed ones. The special focus of the program will be placed on regions of Baltics, Visegrad 4, Nordic countries, and Benelux. We would like to achieve those goals by engaging and activating the network of startups and connecting them to investors, corporations, and governmental with private organizations. For that, we will leverage our expertise in media, conferences, and also training. I think it's also good to mention that the Next Web is not the only company working on the program. There is a consortium of 5 companies. Each company has its own specific skill and specific share of work in the X Europe program. So we will be able to help you from all angles. So I think it's good to mention, good to really briefly introduce all the partners and what their expertise is. So first on board is F Success, which is a British global founders community that connects startups, investors, accelerators, and business opportunities. And they are in charge of providing a community platform and also mentoring sessions. Then there is us, the next web, DNW. We are a mixed media events consultancy and co-working spaces company. And our main expertise or main event is the TNW 2020 conference in Amsterdam, where the first cohort, so the MedTech Biotech cohort, will peak this October. Next to that, we also provide promotion and incubation services, and that's what our share of the pie is. Next to us, there is a design terminal. It's Central Europe leading innovation agency based in Budapest, and they are providing the acceleration services in the program, and they also are in charge of their bespoke design terminal conference that will end the cohort number 2. Growth Tribe, the leading agency regarding growth hacking in Europe, they are in charge of all online and in-person training. So that's really a world-class training in growth hacking to get. And the last but not least, we have TechChill on board, whose main expertise is their TechChill conference. And also they are in charge of promotion together with TNW. So let's quickly jump into how specifically we can contribute to your company's growth. We can offer training. That's the first pillar of our services. The training will be first delivered online, especially because of the coronavirus situation. So for the duration from June to September, all participating companies will have unlimited access to Growth Tribe learning platform, which has numerous courses regarding growth hacking, entrepreneurship, and other relevant activities. And the Growth Tribe will also provide the in-person training, which will happen one day before the TNW conference, 30th of September. And that will be a full day of in-person training with Growth Tribe specialized coaches. All companies will meet and spend a full day of training together. So that will be fun. And during the duration, the 6-month duration of the cohort, we also provide one-on-one mentoring opportunities for companies that want to gain some knowledge from that. That will be highly personalized mentoring. So we will have an onboarding calls with all companies that wish to get mentoring. We will ask what their troubles are, what troubles they encounter, and we will specifically tailor the mentoring to their needs. After that, the second pillar of our help is the promotion. That will happen in person again at the TNW 2020 conference in Amsterdam. All participating companies receive a booth, and they will have full 2 days to promote their business. So you can really showcase your business to more than 20,000 spectators. You can matchmake investors. Really, you can make the most of the time at the conference. And during the whole duration of the program, we will provide a very relevant social media exposure. We will regularly post articles about the companies. In the end of the program, we will share the success stories. And for that, we will use either the ex-Europe dedicated social media channels, but also a TNW platform, which has over 10 million monthly readers. So that's a very good promotion to have. Yeah, I see there's a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, quick question. I think, is it intentional that you're still on slide 1 or?
Oh, that's definitely not intentional.
I think it's probably because you've selected full. I think when you went full screen, there were some problems.
Now you see?
Now I see, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, then I think this is going to be easier then.
I think you can still try full screen. I mean, maybe it's just certain like software glitch. It's just one of the yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. When I switch slides, is it fine?
No.
All right, then if you don't mind, I will just
okay.
I think it's gonna be better for companies to have at least these kind of slides.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, and then let's move to the third pillar of our services, which is matchmaking of the companies. The companies can either matchmake investors. Yeah, I'm sorry, there is.
we also can you maybe take away the side screen so it's like kind of zoom in? We have a remark from one of the webinar participants that we can like just do the font bigger or something.
Yeah, zoom in and then press the format button on the right-hand side, and that should get rid of the sidebar.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the tip.
Yeah.
All right, then let's move to the matchmaking. You can either matchmake investors. There will be over 150 investment companies at the TNW conference, so it's really not a problem to find a fitting investors, but really to get a meeting with all investors that you would like to meet. We are currently getting a specialized medtech and biotech investors on board, so there will be hopefully very interesting investors. Next to that, you can also matchmake corporates as well with investors. We are currently in touch with several health tech related corporates, and we are shaping innovation challenges with them. So all startups can participate if the challenge is relevant for them, and kickstart their successful cooperation with big European or multinational corporates. The TNW conference is also great to attract talent because, as I mentioned, there will be over 20,000 spectators from mostly all across Europe and interested in tech and skilled in tech. So that's a very good way to attract talent if you have some job offerings and if you search for talent with your company. And last but not least, your company can meet some interesting ecosystem builders like accelerators and incubators and make some deals with them. Acceleration and incubation is also part of our program as we offer a free incubation at our TNW spaces in Amsterdam and free acceleration services at design terminal spaces in Budapest. So if that fits to you, we are very happy to offer these services for free.
Fantastic.
And that's actually great because like we have actually, I think some of our members both in Amsterdam and Budapest. So it's like, I think that's
amazing. Adam, did you want to jump in for a moment?
Yeah, I think, yeah, thank you for that intro. It's really, really nail on the head. Maybe I can use the timeline to try and illustrate a little bit how we are making ourselves a bit more distinct and separate from a lot of acceleration programs that you normally see.
Sure.
Using the timeline, right now we're in the application phase. We are accepting applications until the end of the month from startups, and that means companies who are early stage with an MVP all the way up to ready to scale internationally and looking for ways that they can do that, such as setting up in Budapest or Amsterdam or Riga as well is one of the options for the acceleration. So right now we are looking for startups and investors to get on board. And one of the things that we're going to try and do over these 2 years is focus on creating a community. So that really ties into the online activities that we're going to do. So if you join the program, the next few months will have a lot for you. And we try and split it up and make it very digestible so you can continue to manage your business whilst taking part in this program. One of the first things that we're going to do is onboard everybody quite personally onto the program. We're going to understand a little bit about what your needs are, what you want to get out of the program most, and try and use that information to provide the best services we can over the 5 or 6 months that we will be doing so. We will start with an introduction webinar where we introduce the whole program. We provide 2 quick trainings very much up front, giving you some tools and some ideas to work with as you move throughout the program itself. We also onboard you onto the TNW Slack community, which has founders, investors, ecosystem builders, support agencies, all in one place, so you can use this to organically find your own opportunities. One of the key things that will happen in the first few months is we set up the one-on-one matchmaking, which every startup will receive a one-on-one mentor, receiving around 5 sessions per company. And that one-on-one mentor will be selected from our pool based on your needs, so we can find somebody who's going to be best fitting for what you want to get from that person. And This will all be done digitally. The original idea was we start with a physical meeting in June at the TNW conference, but obviously with the current world situation, we've adapted. We've made sure that we have a program that will be able to be delivered regardless of what happens in the next few months. So for the next few months over the summer, you can look forward to one-on-one mentoring. You can look forward to access to online Growth Tribe training. You can get access to investor matchmaking, where we will have a community of investors who take part in the program. We will share your information, we'll share our portfolio, and we'll facilitate online meetings. At the same time, we will early on decide with our corporates which companies they would like to meet. So each corporate can select at least 5 companies that we will set up a pitch competition for. What this will look like is at the TNW conference, 5 companies per corporate and 2 corporates will pitch on the pitch tower in front of the corporate and around 150 audience, have some short Q&A, and then immediately after that, there'll be a roundtable session. So you can sit with them, have some real face time, talk about all the nitty-gritty details and make sure that it's right for both you and the corporate to move forward in a partnership. We will be there facilitating. Somebody from TNW and somebody from the other partners will be sitting at the table to make sure the discussion is good, you can make the best account of yourself. And indeed, in the build-up to the conference, we will help you prepare your pitch deck. Similarly, that will also happen for the investors as well. One of the trainings that we'll offer is investment readiness. So we will provide support in preparing yourself as a company to go and pitch to investors, how you should present yourself, what they would like to see, making sure that you make the most of those meetings when you get them. Simultaneously, we will basically move towards the conference and begin to look at the physical services that we're offering. So the conference, we have a really great program planned. As Jakob already mentioned, all 25 startups get invited to the TNW conference. All 25 will receive a booth on the Exterior Pavilion on the business floor, and we will have a full day training session the day before the conference. So this will be from Growth Tribe, really world-class training. We'll split the groups up so it's not too overwhelming and there's enough room for you to ask questions and really engage with it. And to make sure that we get the most out of that, that's one of the things that we do at the very start of the program. Try and understand your needs, try and understand what you would like to get out of these services, and then use that to adapt the training and get the most out of it. This is also true for the one-on-one mentoring. And one of the things that we really want to do is get everybody learning from each other. So about halfway through the one-on-one mentoring program, we will have a big get together. All of the startups can come and meet each other, probably virtually at this stage, and discuss what they've learned, what they found useful, what they found perhaps wasn't useful for them. And the idea is that you can learn from what's going on in the other one-on-one mentoring sessions and apply that in hopefully your sessions, but also in the future as well. Am I missing anything? I no doubt am. The acceleration and incubation, we start, we'll gather information early on in the program to work out if you would like to go to Riga or Amsterdam or Budapest. And we will make sure that we have a time and desks for you at a time that works in 2020. Obviously, with Corona, we need to be a bit aware of how travel limitations will affect this. But again, we have an adaptable program that we will make sure that these services can be delivered one way or the other and make the most out of it. I mentioned the community, and I'd like to close with touching on that again. Really, one of the key things that we want is to get everybody talking to each other. And that's why we're really focusing on 3 key ecosystems, but it's open to everybody in Europe, getting accelerators and incubators involved as well, so that you can make quick links to other opportunities through us, but also with investors, also with corporates, and also with other startups in the program. So we really make sure that there's that open platform for you to engage in not just this program, but other programs in the future, and take what you've learned here and use it to apply your business in the future in as strong way as possible. So this is basically what a cohort looks like. It's around 5 months. It's quite intense for us, but the engagement in the services for you, we split up, we make it quite digestible. You can really run your business at the same time. And we make sure that the contact points that we do have are going to be very valuable, very well prepared, and very relevant to what you would like to get out of this as a program.
I mean, that sounds actually like very great. That, I mean, it's 5 months, but it's like, you know, intense, and it's tailored, that once, let's say, people do get in, they have like a personal mentor who is with them throughout the months, that they have like those 5 sessions, and then it's like, you know, because it takes time to get things improved, but then maybe there would be like a habit of being accountable to external stakeholder that actually have to report and to really like get a progress month and month rolling out. And then
absolutely. I mean, we have a good balance between webinars, physical events, and the really specific one-on-one training for you, because we see that as being really high value, and that's the reason we've chosen to give all 25 startups in the program access to this one-on-one mentoring.
Yeah, and I think it's maybe that's even like great in the end that you have this kind of pitching and demo day in the end, because then if you have had the 5 months of mentoring and probably you have like increasing your KPIs, then it's always like exciting to report if you have had like, you know, month and month progress, either you are doubling or tripling your outcomes, that actually having that mentorship beforehand, this kind of like helps you to achieve better KPIs, better growth, and you even have like special growth partner there on board that because for example, Paul Garam from Y Combinator, he's defining startup as startup equals growth. So I think it's like some startups maybe think that, you know, it's like I have this nitty-gritty idea and I will have like 10 years to do it. Actually, like true thing is that you have to be like Corona, that you are in one place a month and then you are growing on doubling speed, like in some places even in days, that you want to get the global coverage. And I think especially in healthcare, this is very relevant because we see that the current state of healthcare is not sustainable. Like, I mean, when we have outbreaks, I mean, we don't have that capacity. So innovation is definitely needed. And especially like if we combine this with your growth skills and of your partners, I think it would be very valuable for the startups joining in, who managed to get in, because you have to remember, you have to submit your application by the last day of April, and they are selecting only 25 participants. So it's like a boutique program where.
Absolutely. I think, I think to react a little bit on that, yeah, absolutely. The one-on-one mentoring is something that we really see a lot of value in. We have a range of mentors from Riga, from Budapest, from Amsterdam, from Growth Tribe, who are active now in probably 7 or 8 European countries.
Fantastic. Maybe if it's already allowed, maybe you can drop some names, that what kind of, maybe some kind of more famous names that could maybe tease a bit of excitement behind it.
Off the top of my head, I am coming short a little bit, but I can tell you some of the topics that we really want to focus on are acquiring your first customers and making yourself attractive for investments and corporates. So one of our mentors will be specializing in making yourself ready for corporates, how to approach, how to set up your business so that you're ready for collaborations, what to look out for. International scaling is one of the key topics that we really want to focus on, as well as developing new business models, learning how to adapt today in the data-driven world that we live in right now, and use new technologies like AI and machine learning, or indeed some of the more established things like marketing, which is so incredibly important these days. We really have some experts in broad fields, so there's definitely going to be something for you in this one-on-one mentoring for sure.
And maybe also like, just to clarify, you said it's 2 years, you have 6 cohorts, and the first one is health tech, but the other cohorts might have like different focus areas. So that's a special reason why all the health tech ones should kind of take the stuff together and apply like this time, right?
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that there'll be a number of services that last the whole 2 years. So if you're a health tech company and you join today, this doesn't end for you in October 2020. You will still have, we will still provide our portfolio, including you, to investors for the whole 2 years. We'll still provide you opportunities to go onto the online matchmaking for talent. The Growth Tribe Training Academy will be open for a little bit longer. than just this cohort itself. And same for ecosystem builders as well. So like I said, with the community, and that's even beyond the TNW Slack, we really try and make the effort to build up this community over the 2 years. And then by February 2022, when it's all over, we'll have lots of people who are talking together, sharing ideas, working together. Perhaps a hint for the applications. One of the things that we really want to see is what you would like to get out of the program, or your motivation for joining, what services really mean something to you. We really want that motivation to come through, and that will really shine when we're going through all of these applications.
Yeah, I think it's also good to mention, to pinpoint really like the technological underpinning of your product, because that's also what we are looking for very much in the application process.
Cool. And maybe now it's also a good time that if any of the people currently watching the webinar, if you do have any questions, feel free to use either the chat function to drop a message. You can select select all panelists and attendees, so everybody can see what is the question about, and or use the Q&A button as well.
Absolutely. And if anybody's watching it later, the website here, exurb.eu, through that you can register your interest to apply, and there'll be a mailbox where you can drop any questions that you might have.
Yeah, I see there's a question. Who's the contact person in Budapest? That's, I think, Dorka Orban, right?
So we're working with Design Terminal in Budapest. Great team over there. We've been friends with them for quite a while at TNW. A number of contacts that we have. Perhaps we can take this offline and discuss who's the most appropriate person.
Okay, cool. Any more questions coming in? Maybe when the participants are still thinking about the questions, I actually have one question. You mentioned that people have free access to the spaces in Riga, Amsterdam, and Budapest. But for example, we have also quite active members in Portugal and Spain, some people also in the UK. So what about, you said the program is free, like, are you also covering the like travel costs to from the countries, or like how that part is arranged?
We would love to. We unfortunately do not have the budget for that. When it came to drawing up the budget, we wanted to put as much money as possible in providing high value services. Okay, so it's like people can always use it when they happen to be in the city. So it's like if they are passing by, they can just drop in, use the desk, maybe have some meetings. Mm-hmm. Okay. And get access to the community events, to network and meet people in the spaces, to attend workshops, fireside chats, those kind of things. We've seen it used before when you want to expand to a new country, to soft land, sit there for see what it's like for 3 months, see what you can find in business connections, if it's got the culture and the environment that you're looking for, and using that as a launch pad to move over fully. Okay, that sounds great. It's always good to have like your own context in the new destination you're heading, because I hope that many startups who are applying, they don't only target like only one market, but they want to become like pan-European, and in that sense, it's definitely whatever region they head out first, it hopefully is not the last one, and then they can like maybe start in Budapest, later go to Benelux and have your support from Amsterdam office, and later in the Nordics have a support from the Tech Chill Hub in Riga. Absolutely.
Indeed.
I think it's worth noting that both Amsterdam and Riga are very good for health tech. Lots of public-private partnerships, thriving tech communities around those, lots of investors. They're real hubs, so we're lucky we made that decision last year for that, and we're looking forward to people taking advantage of that opportunity. And I think what's also nice that you're like, looks like you're focused on the early stage, and that's, I think, a fit also for our community at the EIT Health, as most of the EIT programs, like we have programs that
targeting university students. So when they are just fresh off the master program and they got an idea during the studies and they want to pursue it, that's a great way to start now. Maybe if they are in the final year, to already try to experiment with the idea over the summer and later into autumn. So I all encourage the last year master students or maybe last year PhD students to take a pen and put it together. But even like the startups, that many startups in our programs are focusing on the year 1, year 2. So I think the growth hacking, especially provided with your extensive network, is definitely valuable, that if they want to get beyond just validation. But I think one of the trickiest part is, for example, what you mentioned, reaching corporates. So if you are just fresh to this area, you probably need some, I would say, shortcuts to understand and not to get stuck there. So I think this help is super valuable.
Yeah, but I think here is also a really good point to mention that X Europe focuses not only on really nascent startups, but we also take on board more like startups looking for market fit, but also even scaling up companies. So even if you're in charge of a bigger startup, you can definitely join, and we'll make sure that the program is worth your time and effort, because we also believe that the companies in their different stages can really learn from each other as well. So that will hopefully be benefiting all partners or all participants in the program.
Okay, that's great. I haven't seen more questions coming in, so I hope that we covered quite some stuff in the last half or even more than half an hour. So I think I hope all the attendees, and if you are watching a replay, you got quite good coverage. And if you do have any questions, I'm sure both Jakob and Adam will be available. There is also this website, xeurope.eu, that you can reach out, and the person who had a contact idea for Budapest office, definitely feel free to reach out xeurope at xeurope.eu as well.
Yeah, I think it's really good to wrap it up with the fact that we are not looking only for startups, but you're also looking for ecosystem builders and investors to participate in the program, because they can also benefit from participation. So if you know someone in your network, please recommend us. And if you're interested, indeed, you can apply directly through our website, xeurope.eu, and we'll be looking forward to receiving your application.
Well, that's awesome. So I think that's a good time to wrap up. Probably people want to now head to have dinner. So thank you very much for joining us today, Jakob and Adam. And thank you everybody who was watching and will be watching the replays, that you join us for this. Hopefully it was a beneficial session for you, and you will take the courage and will apply in order to be part of this amazing journey and support. And I think it's also amazing always to be first. If you want to be first, so this is an amazing chance to become part of the first cohort and actually make use of what Adam said. I think the maximum use of the program, because the full program is for 2 years, and if you're joining the first cohort, you could take the benefits throughout the full 2-year cycle. Cool, but yeah, I think that's it. If you do have any last words, then.
No, I mean, thank you for the time. Looking forward to engaging.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you, everybody.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.